everyone, it's Andrea, and welcome to this edition of Talks in the Car. Sometimes when you are deeply involved in something, when you're working on something, whether it's a project at work, whether it's a discussion that you're having with your children, perhaps you are in some sort of, not necessarily an argument, but some deep discussions with your spouse or significant other. If you're studying for a test or an exam, sometimes you get so boggled down, your mind just like going every which way, and there's so much going on that the best thing to do in order to get a better perspective of something is simply just to step back. To step back, take a break, and look at it a little bit later. Because sometimes when you're just so focused on something and so tunnel vision and so determined to get something done or to accomplish something, sometimes, like I said, the aisles get crossed, the lines get crossed, and you're not as clear on situations as you should be. And so being able to step away, reboot, refresh yourself, and come back allows you a better opportunity to kind of see things in a new perspective, allow you to maybe have a fresh set of eyes and to discover and to see things that you hadn't seen before you decided to, step back. Yesterday I was working on a project at my job, and something that is so reasonably, or should have been reasonably simple, was just very frustrating to me because I could not figure out how to make this work and how to kind of get things in alignment. And I was getting so frustrated. I had made copies of the project that I was working on, and I had thrown it away, and then I did it again, and then I decided, well, maybe if I move and don't sit in my office and go sit someplace else and do it. And there was just so much going on. I just could not get it together. And I was getting so frustrated because I had promised another person on my team that I would have this information to them so that they would be able to do their part before they left for a couple of days away. And I was getting just so frustrated. So finally, I said, you know what? It's not going to get done here. It's just that simple. What I need to do is not going to get done here. I need to step away, take it home, kind of relax, eat dinner, get myself together, and then go back and look at it. And that's exactly what I did. I went home, I unpacked some boxes that I had, some packages that I had still related to my job, but I unpacked those, got some things done, got something to eat. And then after maybe a couple of hours, I said, okay, let me get in here and tackle this so that it can be done today, first thing in the morning. And while it still took a little bit of time, that time away from it gave me a better perspective of how to do it. So the 2.5, 3 hours that I was working on it at my office was cut down to about an hour and 15 minutes. Fresh perspective. New eyes, new energy. And sometimes in this walk, that's what we have to do. When we are so boggled in our mind by things that take place in our daily lives, if we're confused about finances, if our children are frustrating us, if our spouse is frustrating us, if we have so much going on the job, the car needs repairs. I mean, when life happens, when life is happening, sometimes the best thing that we can do in order to work through life is to step back, to exhale, and to start over. And exhaling may mean a lot of things for a lot of different people. Some people, that might mean, take a walk. I have a coworker who's like that. When things start to frustrate her or when something's going on, she's quick to say, I'm going to take a walk. And she does. She'll leave the office for about 10-15 minutes, and she'll take a walk around the campus. She'll do that. For other people, it may mean, let me go get something to eat. Let me go jog. Let me go to the gym. For those that drink, let me get, a glass of wine, or let me have some coffee, or let me do something. Let me just sit. Let me take a nap. Let me, do something else. Maybe shift. Let's put that project away and work on something else, and then come back to it. But we all need to find ways in order to shift ourselves so that we can have a fresh perspective on life. Even in relationships, sometimes if you are with somebody and you're fighting all the time, or if you're with your children and you're going back and forth all the time on a particular issue, sometimes it may mean stepping back from that person and saying, okay, you know what, let's talk about this later. Let's deal with this later. Telling your children, you know what, I'm not ignoring you. We're going to come back to this, but right now, in order not to get to a place of high intensity, let's talk about it later. I'll call you back to a significant other. Maybe you guys are going back and forth on the phone. You know what, babe, let's talk about it later. Okay, let's talk about something else, or I'll catch up with you later and we'll revisit this particular issue. Sometimes those are the best things to do when your mind is boggled down, when you're tired, when you're frustrated. Even Jesus had to step away sometimes just to rest, just to rejuvenate, just to get a new freshness to even his ministry. After people are pressing on him, after people are putting demands on him, after people are judging him, a lot of times Jesus would say, okay, you know what, enough teaching for today, enough back and forth for today, enough, me having to explain myself again today. He says, look, I'm just going to go across the river and I'm just going to rest. I'll meet you, disciples, I'll meet you over on the other side a little bit later. But I'm going to take this time just to regroup, refresh, and then we'll be able to start over. And that's an important lesson, because if Jesus had to refresh and reboot and try again and exhale, what more can we ask? What more can we do? It's the same thing. We have to exhale, sit back, let it go for a little while, and then if necessary, come back. A fresh set of eyes, a fresh mindset, a new heart set, a new way of looking at things oftentimes are the best way to get through difficulties, to get through conflicts, to be able to work out problems and situations. So I encourage you today, if you are at a place where, regardless of what we're talking about, whether or not it's your job, whether or not it's church related things, whether or not it's family related things, relationships, schoolwork, whatever that thing is in your life that's getting you, kind of frustrated, take a step back, walk away, exhale, do whatever you need to do in order to get some of that pressure off of you, and then come back later. Come back with a fresh sense of beginnings. Come back anew. Come back refreshed. Come back ready to say, okay, let's tackle this now, because now all of the clutter that has been in your mind, in your heart, in your spirit, just on you in general, is gone. You're not stressed in your shoulders. You don't have that headache anymore. You're not frustrated. You're not snapping at people, because you've taken a time to step back and relax. I remember when I was teaching many years ago, and I had a class that was a challenging class. And I would tell, at the time I was married, and I would tell my ex-husband, I would say, look, when I get home, give me a half hour. Just give me a half hour. And I will be able to come back and I will be the wife that I need to be. And in our early stages of our marriage, that was something that really worked. I mean, I would come in, if he was home before I got home, I would speak and, say, hey, babe, and I would go upstairs and I would, kind of maybe lay down on the bed or watch, some half-hour television show, or do something for a half hour just to let my mind ease up from everything that had taken place during the day. And after that half hour was over, I would change gears. And now I'm no longer the teacher. Now I'm the attentive wife that I needed to be. And that worked. That was something that we talked about, and that worked for us. And the same thing with him. When he would come home from difficult moments at his job, he would say, okay, just give me a minute. And he would go into his office and take some time, and then come back, and then we could communicate. It's important. And it's important to know where your limitations are. It's important to know when you've come to your breaking point. And once you've gotten there, what you need to do in order to recharge and to reset and to get yourself back into a place where you're thinking clearly, you're speaking clearly, your heart is in the right place, your mind is in the right place, and those things are important. God wants us to be wise in how we do things. And like I said, if Jesus could take time away to reset, to recharge, to kind of start over, to get his mind and get his thinking back into the place of ministry, we have the right, and he's actually given us permission to be able to do the same. Rest is important. Easing your mind is important. A fresh set of eyes is important. A fresh perspective is important. So I encourage you on today, if things are going on, if you feel cluttered, if you feel like you have a 5,000 piece puzzle in front of you and you don't know where to begin, or you can't find the pieces in order to put your life where it needs to be at that time, step back, exhale, reboot, and come back later. Do whatever you need to do in that time frame that's best for you in order to get yourself back on target. Have a wonderful day, my friends, and we will see you next time on Talks in the Car.